So the first thing, how do we get the big picture in our life? And I said this earlier, is you have to understand, first of all, we have phases in life. As a 22-year-old, I got a big picture vision from God, but it wasn't this. Okay, it wasn't this. My big picture and vision in God was to be, I've shared this before, a worship leader. That was my big picture. So as I got that, I pursued it. I had passion. I learned. I talked to men and women who led worship, how to put together a team. So I learned a lot of things. And what God was really teaching me through that phase was how to lead. Now, I thought it was just music. You understand? That was my big picture at that point in time, because I never thought I would actually lead a church. So what I did is I focused on that point in time as if I was going to be a worship leader the rest of my life, and I needed to be the best one I could be, and I threw everything into it. You guys following me? So you have to understand, many people, when you think of the big picture, it doesn't mean like necessarily you're going to do this for your whole life, but there's steps, there's progressions, there's things that happen as you learn what God's called you to do that take place. Amen? You with me? There's a difference between, this is step 2, how to get God's big picture for your life. There's a difference between a dreamer and a visionary. Okay? Between a dreamer and a visionary. One person talks a lot about what you're going to do. And we know those people, don't we? Could be you. Could be me. And one does something about it. Got it? There's a dreamer and a visionary. Now, I don't know if I do this right, but I say the dreamer is the one who talks a lot about it. Okay, you're a dreamer. And then the visionary, he or she talks about it as well, but they do something about that vision. I want to be a music leader, so you know what they do? They learn how to play guitar. I want to be a music leader, so they knew how to put together singers. I relate to music a lot because it's been in my life, all my life. But you're getting the point. You know, to get God's big picture, you have to be more than a dreamer. You have to be a visionary. You have to be more than a talker. You have to be a doer. You have to be more than a guesser. You have to go forward like God is wanting you to do this. Very, very big difference. Step 3. Well, in dreamer and visionary, I love Kaylin's magazine. You know, if you don't know Kaylin, raise your hand. She's doing a magazine called New Identity. www.newidentitymagazine.com. Is that it? Yeah, I got it. Read it. It's fantastic. But what I want to share is she had a vision. And being a visionary and a dreamer, also, you start off at the same place. She had a dream, and she was dreaming. But she took the next steps. And she's had to go through a lot of steps to get this first one issue out. It's been a year since you first started. And she's finally got the first magazine out. Isn't that awesome? That's way awesome. But the point is, she's not a dreamer any longer. She's a visionary. And, next step. 3, faithful in little. Faithful in little. Huge key. When you have a dream, it's usually bigger than you can do right now, isn't it? And when you have a dream, you usually don't have the skills to make the dream come true where you're at right now. Okay? And so what you have to learn to do is take the steps one by one to get to your dream or your vision. Because when God gives you a dream or a vision, you're not totally equipped right now to do it. Because it's bigger than who you are. And you have to grow into that. We have just some great examples of that here, even this morning and in our church life. You know, we have a couple intern pastors. So what's an intern pastor supposed to become? A pastor, right? So what does an intern pastor need to do before they become a full-fledged pastor?
Pastory stuff.
Yeah, pastory stuff. They need to learn how to lead a group. They need to learn to know how to love people. They need to learn how to pray for people. And suddenly you don't thrust them into a 1,000-member church, do you? You thrust them into a place and a position where it's a step or two ahead of where they're at. So when you say, are you ready to take the next step? They go, no. Good, you're really ready. Right? Because they don't want, so that's the kind of progression of being faithful in little. And what I love about our church is it's deceiving just to look at the numbers of a church a little bit. You can look at us and say, gosh, it's a small church. They've been going for a while. Are they growing? Are they not growing? So on and so forth. What I can assure you of is we are growing. But with our church, it's happening one salvation at a time. We have a few Japanese people who hang out for 3 years and then receive Christ. We have people who receive Christ in-house, and we work with them little by little over the years, and then they become people who are leading and doing things. Kyle and Krista, who are up here, playing music, when they came, I remember that they got on the worship team kind of on mistake. I remember Angel, she was leading the music at that time. She goes, what do you think? I said, I don't know, try them. Do they know Jesus? I don't know, ask them. And then they found the Lord, and then they began playing some music with us. Now they're really some of the core components of the music. Now they're in VLI, Vineyard Leadership Institute. Okay? And it's taken years. How long have you been here? 3 years now? 2.5 years? And they're really on the quick track. You see, what I love about what's going on is when you're faithful with 1 or 2 souls who don't know God. And if they don't really know God and they get to know God, they have a long journey. They really do. A long walk. They don't know a lot of things. They don't understand. Heck, I've been doing it a long time and I don't know a lot of things or understand. I just pretend. Because people ask me, I say, oh, what am I going to say? They really want an answer. So there's the aspect of if you want to get to your dream, you need to be faithful in little. Amen? That makes sense?